Thank you for tuning into Bethel, BHG TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Now our host, Pastor Johnson.
All right, brothers and sisters, we are here. Let's get this camera, let's get everything together here. Peace and blessings to you all. All right, let's go to the chat room. Let's say hello to everybody over there coming in. Sister Barbara Betton, first in our chat room. Brother Brian Johnson, our first moderator in the chat room. Sister Marie, Just Reese, Rabin, how are all of you all doing? How are you doing? All right, brothers and sisters. Yes, thank you for your prayers. Over there in Bend, Oregon. Wow. To all of you all, thank you for tuning in tonight. As you know, this is really my first full week coming back. And yes, I'm doing a lot better. I'll be doing a lot better when we get this camera straightened out. So just give me a 1 minute while we are working on that and getting that together, all right? So, yes, let's see what's going on with our camera here and these lights and all like this. We are back, all right? Just 1 second here, and I didn't do a test coming online tonight, but we're here, and we want to thank all of you all for tuning in tonight. We have some stuff going on. We got baptism coming this weekend. I am looking forward to that. I'm excited about that happening this weekend. So we'll have that underway, and many of you that are tuning in, somebody's calling me. Probably don't know that I am online right now, so I'm not able to take any calls. But brothers and sisters, we're going to get underway tonight. We're going to get started tonight. And I want to just say to you, thank you for tuning in. May the 28th, if you're anywhere in the South Florida area, we will be having our Pentecost service on May the 28th. All right, and Brother Brian Johnson, I got your email, and I will be sending you that information. If you are in the South Florida area and you intend on being a part of the Pentecost service that's going to be held right here, pretty much we got everybody in the state of Florida coming down. We got Orlando coming down. Shout out to Orlando. I've heard that there's some up in the Jacksonville side. They're all coming down. Shout out to Jacksonville. I hear that there's some up in Gainesville. I hear them online sometime. But Gainesville, you all come on down. Get a part of this. Get a part of this so you can do this. Now, you can go to Eventbrite. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull it up and see what it looks like online so we can look at it together. And so you all can see how to go look for it. Let me see if that will work real quick. And you know me, I like to do things so we can do it together to see if it works and see if it is working. All right, so let me see. Let me pull up my internet over here. I may have to just... Let me see if there's some way I can make all of this thing. I'm muted. There we go. I'm back. I'm going to the internet to see if we could pull this up. All right. I got to make the screen a little bit smaller so I can show you all how to pull it up when you go to the internet, okay? I think if you go to Eventbrite, Eventbrite, and they say it's going to be this simple. I don't know. I like to look at it. But there is a website, and that website is called eventbrite.com. All right? I don't know how I got to that part right there. But Eventbrite, let's see here. I'm going to eventbrite.com, as you can see that right there. Let's click on it. All right, and there's going to be Fort Lauderdale, and I'm trying to think if there's a search engine anywhere that we can go to so that you could see it. Business, food, drinks, boom. Let's see here. Happening in Fort Lauderdale online today, this weekend. Free music, charity. I'm trying to look at it where if you can just go and basically do a search on it. I don't see this. I haven't gone to Eventbrite, but I'm doing this because I like to see what you see. All right, let's see. Log in. Well, here's a search right up here. You all, let me make it smaller so you could see what I'm seeing. But if you go up here, search events, and I'm going to type in the word, where did I go at? Search everything. Pentecost. See what comes up. Pentecost. I don't see anything yet. So instead of doing it this way, I'm going to have to put in the link that they gave me and see if we can find it that way. Let me go back up here and just put in search event. This is what I did, and they gave it to me. I think they put in Pentecost service, but you got to put in the city is going to be Fort Lauderdale. Let's see if it comes up. I don't see it. So you're going to have to go with the link. Now, this is a private event, and that's probably why it's not here, but I'm going to give you all the link, and that will take you straight to it, all right? Let me click on it and see what happens there. May the 28th. I see it here. I think you're going to have to put in Bethel House of God IOG. Let's try that. So when you go to Eventbrite, instead of putting that in, put in Bethel House of God. IOG, and let's see what comes up. I still don't see it because we're not paying for it to be up front. So, I want you all to be able to get it a lot quicker than what I'm looking for it online. So, I'm going to have to transfer this over to the link inside of the chat room, and that's what I'm going to do so that you all can see it, because they're asking that everybody sign up for it, all right? But it's going to be the 28th of May, and I know I did get a request by Brother Brian Johnson, and I'm going to send him the link via email. And I thought it might have been a little bit more simpler to get it than what I'm saying it. So I'm going to go up here. It's just not working. All right, so we'll get this together by tomorrow night, brothers and sisters, where the link will be in the chat room and you all could see it. Because I want it to be as easy. But I do know that because it's a private event, it explains why it's not, you're not able to search for it. So, and the sister sent me the link. I'm looking at the link, and I got to figure out a way to get it to you all. So I'm going to hit share the link, and I'm going to go to my email, and I'm going to put it in the email so that I can see it and click on it and pull it up. That's how we're going to do it. All right, so let's go back out to my email, and I'm going to show that to you all. And then that way you could see it. But, and I know I just sent it to myself. And it's going to be in, here it is right here. All right. So I'm going to my email so I could see it. There it is there. And it's this design team of mine. They asked me about it, and I said, don't put my picture on it. But what do they have? My picture on it. So I don't like my picture on stuff, but it'll look like that, brothers and sisters, okay? Pentecost service, and when you go to it, you can simply click on it, and it tells you to reserve a spot and what have you. Let me go for YouTube so you could see this. It's going to ask you all these questions, and there's the date and time and what have you. So that is going to be coming up, all right? Y'all can see it. You can check it out. And that's going to be May the 28th. And they want you to reserve a spot. And you can come up here and click how many people you're going to be reserving a spot for, and simply hit the reserve spot position, and it will go there and put in your name, your information, and what have you. So I'm going to have to create a better a link. I can do that for them because you got plenty of time. And you see where it's $0. It doesn't cost you anything to go in. All you have to do is just register, and you'll be able to get it. All right? Because I want you to be able to come to the event. And so we'll get that for you. We'll straighten that out. Our Feast Day Committee has created this link for people to go to and to get it. But I see that I'm going to have to create the link using some software that I got and create it as a special name. So we'll be doing that and getting that back out to you. That's coming up. And again, this is free. Doors will open up at 11:30. And when the doors open up at 11:30, we'll be there all the way until 6 o'clock. All you have to do again is when we want you to sign up so we know how many people we have to cook for. All right? So I'm going to help out the committee by creating a nice little catchy link that you all can get it and use it and get on in there. But Brother Brian Johnson, it's coming to you because you sent me an email as I had requested the other night. If anybody wants to go, send me an email and I will send it to you. So I am going to send it to Brother Brian Johnson, one of our moderators, and I'm going to send him the link so that he can get it and go and be ready to go. So I'm going to get that for you right now, my brother. Right while we're here talking, you're going to have it. You're going to get it. And I'm going to do a forward address to him. And if you do want to get the link, you could send it to me right now. at Bethel House of God, and I'll send you the link. And if one of the moderators will put that in our chat room, the Bethel email, and I'll send it to you. So, Brother Brian Johnson, that's already sent to you. And while I'm over here, let me just type that in, Bethel House of God at Gmail. And if you ask me or send me an email, I will send you the link. All right? And then that way you can have it. All right? And that email was right there. Again, it's right there, Bethel House of God. And just say, please send me the feast day link or the Eventbrite link and get signed up. I understand that we got, when we put this link out last week, we already have nearly 30 plus people, 35, 40 people already signed up. So that's what it's about, getting everybody there together so we can get there and get this Pentecost service going on. All right, I'm going to get, you're welcome, Brother Brian Johnson. We're going to get started in this lesson tonight. And I want to say shout out to all of you all that, again, kept us in prayer as we went through this little under the weather period that we had, but we're over it. Everything is well. Everything is back on par. All right. So thank you for that. And thank you for your prayers and getting us through. And that's why we were not able to come on last week. And of course, the week before that, we were out of town. I was really hoping to be at Riverdale this weekend. And you all know I've been talking about going to Riverdale, and I was so excited. And brothers and sisters, it's sad I didn't get there. So I was very, very disappointed in not getting there. And Sister Brenda Beauclair's in the chat room. Shout out to Sister Brenda Beauclair. Because whenever I go to Riverdale, I always sit on the front seat beside Sister Brenda Beauclair. Because when I sit there and I get the lesson, she always slips me one of Pastor Bowie's handwritten lessons that he's done in the past. And of course, when I sit beside Sister Brenda Beauclair, we just focus on the lesson. We're not playing. We there to get the word. So Sister Brenda Beauclair, thank you. Thank you for your prayers. And I certainly missed the opportunity to get there and fellowship with my sister. And I missed that, brothers and sisters. I certainly did. But again, I'll be coming back. I got my ticket already reserved. Let's get into this lesson. We're going to be talking about the four beasts. And what I'm going to be doing is something unique tonight, dealing with the four beasts. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but I think it's my lighting. So it's coming in and out. So we'll look over that. I want to be dealing with the four beasts tonight. And I'm going to be slowing it down because I'm going to be showing you what Daniel wrote, and then we're going to jump to the internet and do some comparison according to world history. And I do that so you all can kind of get an understanding as to how this thing is brought out and confirmed from the encyclopedia or sources or references in the academic world and tying it in with the scriptures. And I thought it would be a very important opportunity and lesson to do that tonight. So one of the scriptures that we're going to go to is the book of Daniel. And we're going to go to Daniel, the 8th chapter. Daniel, the 8th chapter. We'll start the 7th chapter of Daniel. And I want to pick it up there because in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, and I brought this out yesterday in the car cam. Jesus says, when you look at the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. So I want to kind of jump over here and look at this and then jump in the encyclopedia world to get confirmation of his dream. All right? So let's go to the Bible and we're going to look at this, brothers and sisters. In Daniel the 7th chapter, let me straighten this up so you all could see it. You know, I like for you to know where the Bible verse is coming from. There we go, right there. In the book of Daniel, it says in the first year of Belshazzar, Daniel, on the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. Now, I want to ask the question, because the king of Babylon is Belshazzar, but Belshazzar is a descendant of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay? Daniel is there and he sees some things happening in a dream, and he wants to get some skill and understanding from this. So it says, Daniel had a dream and visions upon his head. Visions of his head upon his bed. What is he simply saying here? Daniel had a dream and it was a night. He was in the bed, he was asleep, and this vision was upon his head, or visions of his head upon his bed. He was in the bed. We can't control how people write it. They may not write it the way we talk today, but that's what he was saying. What is unique is he wrote the dream and he told the sum of the matters. So let's explore what Daniel wrote. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. The four beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. This is the first beast that Daniel saw come up out of the sea. Now, I'm going to read this all the way through and let you know we'll come back and get some interpretation. But I want you to follow me with it as we read it all the way through. The first beast was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. And behold, another beast, a second, like a bear. So we got a lion and a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Rise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of its 4 wings of a fowl. It had 4 wings like a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake into pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. All right? So when we look at this dream that Daniel had, he's simply laying down in his bed. It's at nighttime, and he sees 4 beasts come up out of the sea. And when he sees these beasts, brothers and sisters, the first is like a lion, that goes away. Then it comes a bear, that goes away. Here comes a leopard with 4 wings on it, with 4 heads, that goes away. Then he sees another beast. But take note that Daniel does not attribute any animal that he could compare in his time like unto that fourth beast. The first one, he put a lion onto it. The second one, a bear. The third one, a leopard with 4 heads. But the fourth one, he just says it's dreadful, it's terrible, and it had great iron teeth. We're going to skip down to verse number 15, brothers and sisters, because we're going to get some understanding from Daniel's dream. And Daniel simply says this, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of things. These great beasts, which are 4 kings. You can also say 4 kingdoms, because kings are over kingdoms, which shall arise out of the earth. So, on the way of learning something, let's learn something. Whenever you see, brothers and sisters, something coming up out of the sea, okay, that is the earth. Remember, Daniel said, I saw in my visions by night, and behold, 4 winds of the earth strove upon the great sea. 4 beasts came up from the sea. So whenever we see the word from the sea, you know automatically, according to verse 15, that sea is going to be the earth. 4 kingdoms shall arise out of the earth. So these beasts that he saw are 4 kings which came up out of the earth. But then he says, the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then he goes on and says, then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, because remember, Daniel is not putting an animal to this 4th beast. So he's basically saying, I get it. The saints are going to possess the kingdom forever and ever. But I want to know the truth about this 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. And 10 horns that were in his head. And he wants some information about this. And the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. This is talking about the 4th beast. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints. He's concerned about that 4th beast because it's that horn that made war with the saints and prevailed against them. I know you said that don't worry, because the saints are going to possess the kingdom forever and ever. But that's after the 4th beast. He was concerned about during the era of the fourth beast that is going to make war with the saints before they possess the kingdom, and during that time it will prevail against them. He wants to know about that. And it prevails until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possess the kingdom. But you see, Daniel's concern is this 4th beast. And thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread it down, and break it in pieces. I'm going to stop there, brothers and sisters, because I want to go into these four kingdoms of the earth that's going to rise up. And Daniel wanted to know about them. And we're going to go into a little prophecy here so we can understand a little bit more information about these four kingdoms, these four beasts that come up out of the earth. So in the 8th chapter, we're going to jump over there and read it so we can get some understanding, because not only was Daniel given that there was going to be four kingdoms of the earth, but Daniel is in the 8th chapter he's given a dream how the transition of power is going to take place. In the 8th chapter, Daniel, and you can read that on your own. Just put down the 8th chapter, you read that on your own. Especially verses 1 through 17. What Daniel is able to witness is how the transfer of power goes from one kingdom to the next kingdom. So we're going to go to the 8th chapter, but I'm not going to read how the ram and the goat and all of that. But what I want to take from that is in verse number 20. I want to pick it up from there, verse 20. Daniel said, as he saw this ram, this ram gets taken out, brothers and sisters. Now, when did Daniel have this dream? It was in the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar. In the 3rd year, he gets a dream how there's a ram that's moving around the earth until a goat comes and knocks the ram down and overtakes the ram. The goat overtakes the ram. And Daniel has this dream, but here's what he was told regarding the understanding of that dream. In the 15th verse it says, and it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen this vision, sought for the meaning, and then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he had came, I was afraid and fell on my face. But he said unto me, understand, Son of man, for at the time of the end shall the vision be. You're getting the vision, but these are things that's going to happen at the end, leading up to the end. So, brothers and sisters, we're not at the end, but we're coming very close up on it. Very close on it. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said unto me, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. So I'm going to make you understand this, Daniel. This is what he says. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. That's the ram that you saw. The rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Because remember, when that goat, it had a horn, but the horn broke it, and then up came 4 other horns. Again, read Daniel 1 through 7, 8 chapter 1 through 17. But I'm not concentrating on that. That's a different lesson. But it goes on and says, now that being broken, the first horn of the goat, whereas 4 stood up for it. 4 kingdoms shall stand out of the nation, but not in his power, not in the power of the first horn or the first king that came up from this goat. But we know who that goat is. It's the king of Grecia. We know that the ram is the king of Persia. So what is Daniel being told? If Daniel is in the days of Belshazzar, that means the next kingdom to take over Babylon from King Belshazzar has to be the Medo-Persians. And then when they're in charge, the Greeks will take over from the Medo-Persians. That has to be the way the prophecy is going to lay out, brothers and sisters. So what are we going to do? We're going to come over here and we're going to look at it to see if things unfolded exactly that way. Okay? That's what we're going to go look at. Did things unfold exactly that way? So, we're going to go over here to the internet and we're going to take a look. And we just want to confirm prophecy. So, I'm going to fix my Google, which I got right here, and we're going to type something in there. We're going to say, who defeated the Babylonian kingdom? All right? Question mark. Now, here's what it says. The Neo-Babylon Empire, like the earlier Babylonian, was short-lived. In 539 BC, and I'm gonna move this over so you all could see it and read it like the way I'm reading it. So it was King Cyrus the Great. That's who took over Babylon. That's the king of Persia, brothers and sisters. In 539 BC, less than a century after its founding, the legendary Persian king of Persia, the Great, conquered Babylon. The fall of Babylon was complete with when the empire came under Persian control. All right? So I'm going to look at this and say, what else can we glean from this? All right? What caused the fall of the Babylonian Empire? The Babylonian Empire suffered major blows to its power when Nebuchadnezzar's sons lost a series of wars with Assyria, and their successors effectively became vassals of the Assyrian king. Babylonian descended into a period of chaos. Let's see. Let's look at this here. Nebuchadnezzar and the fall of Babylon. Now, what I want to correct is this. Nebuchadnezzar never lost the kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar never lost the kingdom. Who lost the kingdom was the descendants of Nebuchadnezzar, which was mainly Belshazzar. Okay? So let's go here. I want to go back to the internet. And here's what it has here. Because a question came up. Who defeated Babylon? Was it Cyrus or Darius? I hate when it just did that, brothers and sisters. Let me see if I can hit Control Z. Nope, can't do that. All right, so let me go over here and see. Let me bring this back. So I just put in there who defeated them. I want to know which one did it. So let's look at what the world history says about it. It says Cyrus describes how he conquered Babylon in 539 without a fight. So he alleges and then took its king. Now, when history write this, you have to understand that the Medo-Persians were together. Darius was the kingdom, and that's why when we read in Daniel, going back to the scripture in Daniel, take note how it says that the ram was the Medo-Persians. That's what it says. It was the Medo-Persians. The rough goat, the two kings are the ram which you saw it having two horns are the kings of Media, that's the Medes, and Persia. The Mede is Darius, Persia is Cyrus. But they were together because you can read in history how these two came together. So when they wrote history, their history was combined together. So hence is why when we go back over to the encyclopedia or go into a YouTube search and we ask a question like this, and let's go there and look at it. Who conquered Babylon? Was it Cyrus or Darius? Cyrus is Persia, Darius is the Medes. And this is what it says. This is what I like about it. Cyrus describes how he conquered Babylon in 539 without a fight. So he alleges and then took its king. Well, how does the Bible describe that they took it without a fight? Because that's going to be important. History's making this, but let's see how the Bible says it, that it was done without a fight. So let's go back to the scriptures and let's go look at what happened in the 5th chapter. I believe that's where this guy decides that he's going to mess with everybody. So let's go take a look at this. In the 5th chapter, you all remember this party that Darius had? Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the thousands. If y'all remember that dream and remember this story, put a thumbs up, because this is going to be important to get some understanding from this. Belshazzar, while he was tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and the silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem. All right, so we're not going to get all into all of this, but read another verse here. He says he commanded them to bring the golden silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king, his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. But what happened was there was handwriting on the wall. He couldn't understand the handwriting, so only Daniel could understand the handwriting, and Daniel gave him the interpretation of that handwriting. Again, we're not going to get into all of that tonight. I'm just showing you how prophecy, that you could see what happened in the Bible and simply go to the encyclopedia and it'll point it out. Here's what Daniel told him when he saw that handwriting on the wall. And this is the writing that was written. Many, many tekel upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many, God have numbered your kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances, are found wanting. Perez, the kingdom is divided and given to, here we go, the Medes and the Persians. So when you go back, that explains why sometimes the encyclopedia, because it don't give account a reference with the Bible and world history, there's no account with the scriptures, but these things were prophesied and then they fulfilled, happened, and was carried out. So when Daniel says to Belshazzar, your kingdom is going to be divided and it's going to be given to the Medes and the Persians, right? And then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with his scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck and made the proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. Listen to this. In that night was Belshazzar the king of Chaldeans slain, and Darius the Mede took the kingdom, and he was 62 years old. When did that happen? In that night, Belshazzar the king of the Chaldeans slain. The Lord killed him that night. And Darius took the kingdom. He took it without any type of battle, brothers and sisters. So let's jump over to the internet and look how it is written. Cyrus describes how he conquered Babylon in 539 without a fight. So he alleges and took his kingdom. Nabonidus, prisoner, all with the aid of Marduk, the most important Babylonian god. So he took over their Babylonian god and everything else. All right? Here's something else here. How did Cyrus defeat Babylon? Well, in 539, it goes on to say, Persian forces invaded the wealthy, fertile empire and routed the Babylonian army to seize the strategic city of Opis on the Tigris River. A week later, the Persian army reached into the walls of Babylon, the ancient world's largest city, and seized it without a fight. That's how history describes it. The history ain't going to go into the fact that Belshazzar was down there drinking out of the Lord's cup, and he was down there clowning, having a good time, just clowning, acting a fool with the vessels that came from the house of God. History is not going to go into the fact what happened in the Bible. And I don't expect it to. I don't expect for it to do so. But we can read the Bible and go confirm the events by simply reading world history. So Daniel says that Belshazzar was having a party, and in having the party, he decided to go get the vessels that his father took from Jerusalem, belonging to the children of Israel, bring it up here and we're going to drink out of that. That didn't sit well with the Lord. So he sends an angel, and Belshazzar, as we read, that night lost the kingdom. But again, when we go read it in the encyclopedia,
Ezra, the 7th chapter.
I'm sorry,
read one
brothers and
verse,
sisters,
verse
I don't
number
know what
6.
just
Listen
happened.
to this.
This Ezra went up.
All right, let me get it to the right one. YouTube, that's the one I want. All right, here we go. So when we go look at it over here, How did he do it? How does history say that the Medo-Persians took Babylon? And they simply say they routed themselves through the river, and a week later, the Persian army reached the walls of Babylon, the ancient world's largest city, and seized it without a fight. Wow. But that's how they put it. But the Bible tells it a different way. Because nobody gives up their kingdom, brothers and sisters, without a fight. Nobody. But the man dropped. He dropped that night. And Daniel told him, said, your kingdom is going to be given to the Medes and divided into the Medes and the Persians. Your kingdom, Babylon, is getting ready to be divided to the Medes and the Persians. And it was. But now, we got to look at something else, according to world history. Because remember, the ram is the Medes and the Persians. And here comes the Greeks being the goat and takes him out. Let's go back and look at that. We're going to go back and look at that in the 8th chapter of Daniel. Daniel, the 8th chapter. Let's go back and look at that. Remember, Daniel sees in his vision there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. Remember, the ram had 2 horns. And he says 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, because the Medes were the short horn and the Persians were the longer horn belonging to this ram. But then he says, as I stood there, and as I was watching this ram, a he-goat comes from the west, and it didn't touch the ground. It had a notable horn between his eyes. He came up to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing by the river, and ran into him with his fury and power. We're going to skip all of that because I want to go back down here to verse number 20 when he says, the ram which you saw having 2 horns are the kings of the Mede and Persia. So Daniel is given this dream, and he's going to be able to understand the fact that Belshazzar is in charge, but the Mede and the Persians are going to receive this kingdom Babylon. In fact, we see it carried out in the chapters before, because Daniel was the one that interpreted it and said, your kingdom is divided and it's going to be given to the Medes and the Persians. Daniel is living during the time of Darius, and he sees this ram and this goat take out this ram. And he told him that the rough goat is the king of Persia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Let's go back, brothers and sisters, to the internet. And let's take some notes. Because now the question is going to be, who defeated Persia? And here it is. So the question is, who defeated the Persian Empire? Alexander the Great. Notice that it calls him He was the former king of Macedonia. Well, his father was Philip, king of Macedonia. But let's get some questions how this goes. How Alexander the Great conquered Persia. Well, Alexander the Great has to be who? The king of Greece. His underman defeated the Persia king Darius III. And they call him Darius III because everybody's name was Darius thereafter. At the Battle of Guacamala is seen as one of the decisive turning points in human history. So when you saw that goat take out that ram, the world history says that battle is seen one of the decisive turning points in world history. So what defeated the Persian army? Who destroyed the Persian Empire? But if you just keep going down, Alexander defeats the Persians. So let's just click on this for a second. And let's see if I can zoom in on some of this so you all can see it, all right? And this is what it says. Alexander began his war against the Persians in 334 BC. At that time, the Macedonia leader was 22 years old. At his death, 11 years later. So if he was 22, the guy only lived to be 33 years old. Alexander ruled the largest empire of the ancient world. His victory of the Battle of Guacamala, I hope I'm saying that right, on the Persian plains was a decisive conquer that ensured the defeat of his Persian rival King Darius III. So we're getting a little perspective from world history, which is not going to go into Daniel's dream, because Daniel's dream preceded this, brothers and sisters. Daniel's dream was a foretelling of this, and world history does not go into the Bible. But the Bible prophesies what was going to happen, and you can just simply go read it in world history. Darius was prepared for battle, having selected his spot to meet his enemy. After his defeat at Issus 2 years previously, Darius made sure that his battleground favored his army and his tactics, particularly the use of his feared scythe-wheeled chariots. Well, none of that mattered, right, brothers and sisters? None of that mattered at all. I don't care how big, what kind of chariots you got. The Lord already told Daniel that you're going down. And it happened. Let's read this part right here. As soon as Darius set his whole battle line in motion, Alexander ordered Aristes to attack those who were riding clear around his right wing, and up to that time he was himself leading his men in column. But when the Persians made a break in the front line of their army, when their cavalry changed to aid those executing the flanking movement, Alexander wheeled towards the gap and formerly wedged as it were of the companion cavalry and of the part of the phalanx, which was, I'm trying to get my glasses here, which was posted there. He led them with a quick charge and a loud battle cry straight toward Darius. Then came a short hand-to-hand melee, but when the Macedonian horse, led by Alexander himself, pressed on vigorously, thrusting themselves against the Persians and striking their faces with their spears, and when the Macedonian phalanx in defense array, bristling with long spikes, had joined in the attack, general terror smote Darius, whose courage already had been shaken, so that he was the first to turn and flee. Likewise, the Persians, who were trying to outflank, panic-stricken at the vigorous attack of Orestes, took to flight, and in this quarter the Macedonian chased after, and they slaughtered everybody. That's how that's how world history describes it. But when we read Daniel, he says this ram went to and fro, north, east, and south. It did whatever he wanted to do until this goat came with fury. This is some good stuff, brothers and sisters. I like how the Bible, you can just simply go and read some world history and get some information, right? I'm just going back over here to look how things are written. I want to go. I'm going to take you with me to some of this. Going back over here to the internet and just looking. Here's the Encyclopedia Britannica. It talks about that battle also. So let's just take a quick look at it. Because, today we don't have encyclopedias anymore. We used to have in the house. Let's see. The Battle of... Let me come over here and make it smaller so you all could see it. It says the Battle of Guacamala. Also, the Battle of Arbela. Battle in which Alexander the Great completed his conquest of Darius III's Persian Empire. It was an extraordinary victory achieved against a numerically superior army on ground chosen by the Persians. So, as history book says, they picked how they were going to do this. As at Issus, the aggression of the Macedonian cavalry led by Alexander carried the day. Attempting to stop Alexander's incursion into the Persian Empire, Darius prepared a battleground on the plain of Guacamala near Arbela, present day is northern Iraq, and posted his troops to await Alexander's advance. Darius had the terrain of the prospective battlefield smooth leveled so that his army chariots could operate with maximum effectiveness against the Macedonians. His total forces greatly outnumbered those of Alexander, whose forces mounted to about 40,000 infantry and 7,000 cavalry. It don't matter because Daniel had the dream that the goat takes out the ram. Now, I don't know if you all have seen a ram before, but a ram is much larger than a goat. But it don't, so the history books just says that the ram was in appearance was more powerful than the goat. Daniel's dream, when you look at it and you say, here's this goat running with, here's this goat going up against a ram. In real life, a goat cannot beat a ram. But with fury, he runs and takes out the ram. So the history book simply says that Alexander the Great was outnumbered. See, this is the beauty of this. You could read world history and then go back and read prophecy, and you could see how things are unfolding. Let's take another look at that. Let's go back over here and take a look at that, brothers and sisters. Let's take a look at this. This is what it says. Alexander's well-trained army faced Darius's massive battle line, organized for attack, charging the left of the Persians' line with archers and javelin throwers and cavalry, while defending against Darius, outflanking cavalry with reserve flank guards. A charge by Persians. I don't know why that video came up, so let me just move along above it, all right? This charge that they did by Persians' scythe chariots aimed at the center of Alexander's forces was defeated by the Macedonian lightly armed soldiers. Because I told you, brothers and sisters, that normally a ram cannot can outdo a goat any day. But here is these heavy forces from this ram. It was defeated by this lightly armed goat. Because in normal circumstances, it wouldn't happen this way. All right? Normal circumstances, it would not happen this way. Let me fix my... I have my little... There it is. I'm looking for my I lost my my little frame. There it goes. Come on, frame. I'll get it big again. Let me stretch it out. There we go. I just like my frame to be around everything. All right? Y'all give me a minute and I'll fix that. Here we go. All right. Now I can go back in here and make this smaller. All right. All right. There we go. So, this thing, let me tell you, brothers and sisters, it could not touch what was happening over here because this lightly army did it. I mean, when I tell you it took them out, it took them out. Alexander and his personal cavalry immediately wheeled half left and penetrated his gap and took the wheel against the attack of the Persians. And, it don't interest me to read how that all took place, but I just wanted to put it here in the scriptures, in with the lesson, so you could just see how this thing just really took place, brothers and sisters. This is something here. This is world history just confirming the Bible. Because that's exactly what it's doing. Let me see if I can bring up another one here that it might bring out something a little different than that. because I'm looking at all the different sites here of how it all took place. Here's one here, just to take a look at it. Now, I'm not a member of that particular encyclopedia, so I cannot get to that. I want to go back up here on the internet, and I'm going to type in, we put in who defeated the Persian Empire. I'm going to put in here, how did Alexander the Great die? There it is right there. How did Alexander the Great die? Okay, so it says Alexander the Great died in Babylon. His age was 32. Followed a 2-week febrile illness. Speculated causes of death have been including poisoning, assassination, and a number of infectious diseases. I don't care how the encyclopedia puts it, brothers and sisters. Here is what is going to be even more important, because the Bible says, let's go over there and look at this. The ram which you saw having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. We know that's Alexander the Great now. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. This is the goat. We know that's Alexander the Great. But listen to what the Bible says. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. So 4 kings are going to come up out of this goat. So I want to go back to the encyclopedia. And we, as the encyclopedia says, brothers and sisters, this king of Persia is gone. Alexander the Great comes in. His horn was short-lived, and that's exactly what the scripture says. And if I go look at world history, he died at a young age. So now I'm going to ask, here's another good question. When did Alexander the Great die and why? Well, let's take a look at it. Alexander died when he was nearly 33 years old. Possibly explanations for his death have included alcoholic liver disease. Wow, I mean, they are really getting into this. Strychnine poisoning, but the little data support either condition as the cause of his death. Some here that got malaria, typhoid fever. It don't matter. The Lord told Daniel that this horn was going to be short-lived on this goat, which is Greek. So I want to go up here and just type in so y'all can see it. Let me bring it down a little bit. Who took over? After the death of Alexander the Great. That's what I want to know. What does the world history say? Well, listen to this. Instead of one successor, however, there were actually 4 generals who succeeded Alexandra: Antigonus, Cassandra, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. Let me read that again. This is just simple Google search. Instead of one successor, however, there were actually 4 generals who succeeded Alexandra. Antigonus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. I want to go back to the Bible now. See, now I want to go back to the Bible and see what the Bible says. The Bible says this, brothers and sisters. Now that being broken, talking about Alexander the Great, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand out of the nation, but not in his power. I'm going to stop here because we can get into so much more simply showing you and connecting the dots, brothers and sisters. But I just wanted to give you this little bit dealing with these 4 beasts coming up out of the earth and the transition of the power, and looking at Daniel and simply going to the encyclopedia and just reading and seeing how this Bible that the Lord had prophets write, given to us today, is the baddest, most authentic, most powerful book, because you can confirm it in world history. You can confirm it. It's all there. We read it. In most kingdoms, one king takes over. But Daniel was told this goat is going to have a horn that's going to be broken, but 4 are going to come up from it. And then when we look in the encyclopedia, and the encyclopedia goes back and says, hey, guess what? We know that that's what's traditionally done, but instead of one successor, there were actually 4 generals. Well, didn't the Bible tell us that? Daniel told us before it even happened, brothers and sisters. He told us what was going to go down. So that means if you on your own just say, I want to know who the 4th beast is. I want to know whoever defeated Greece is the 4th beast. Well, you know what? I don't want to leave out like that. Let's just go type it up in there. Let's just go type it. Who defeated Greece? That's the best question to ask. Look. Romans. By 146 BC, Romans had conquered the Greek city-states. Heavy taxes were paid by the provinces to support the luxury of Rome. The conquered people began to resent this. Greece didn't really decline as a culture because the Macedonians, Alexander the Great, and the Romans both adopted and spread Greek culture. So the Greek myths, the Greek pagan worship was Rome who conquered Greek. They spread forth the Greek culture all over the place. That's why the Bible says that 4th beast is dreadful and terrible. It conquered. It stamped out. This is where your Christmas comes from. This is where Sunday worship comes from. This is where bunny rabbits laying eggs comes from. This is where a lot of stuff comes from, brothers and sisters. But a lot of it was picked up from Babylon too. And it was spread by the 4th beast, who took Christianity and tainted it. took Christianity and mixed in a whole bunch of stuff into it. That's why Daniel said, I would to know the fourth beast. Because this fourth beast was dreadful and terrible. But he kept saying, don't worry, Daniel. The saints shall prevail. No, I want to know about this fourth beast. And he got his answer. He says this fourth beast is dreadful. It's terrible, man. It's going to stamp. It's going to do some damage. Well, I just wanted to share that with you tonight, brothers and sisters, how you can just take those chapters from the book of Daniel and just go do some Google search and look at this, and it just all opens up. There's a book I want to tell you about. I want you to look at this because it breaks it down in a more fluid way. I slowed it down tonight. I just simply slowed it down and took time and kind of went back and forth. But there's a book I'm going to encourage you to get. You can call the Israel of God in Riverdale and order the book titled The Four Winds of Heaven. Order that book. Pastor Bowie wrote that book. Order that book. That book will break it down like you've never seen before. The book will do exactly what I did. I don't know. It gives you some academic resources. I just simply did the same thing by just doing Google search. But Pastor Bowie's book goes into the various references using encyclopedias and referring back to them. And you can look at that book and read it, and it's totally broken down. Four Winds of Heaven. You got to get it. You got to get that book. Shout out to Sister Kelly, one of our new members who's getting baptized this week. And she says, Pastor, my book came in today. And she's so excited because she ordered the book, The Four Winds of Heaven. Brothers and sisters, again, I just took Daniel and just jumped on the internet and did the same thing. Just so you could see it, just so you could show it to people. Do what I did. Show it to people. Show them how authentic this Bible is. So you will know what's going on. So that when you read the rest of Daniel about the abomination of the desolation, standing in the holy place, and that temple being built, and the time of tribulation, you know it's going to happen. You're not going to be raptured off. You know it's going to happen. Why? Because Daniel gave it to you before it happened, and we went to the encyclopedia and showed you what little we took from those two chapters, how it actually happened. So therefore, what has not happened yet is that temple being built. And it's going to happen. It's going to go down, brothers and sisters. It's going to go down. So once you understand it and watch news and watch what's happening, you know the pieces on the chess table are taking place. You can just sit there, and once you get understanding, you can say, this is going to be the next move right here. Not because we're prophets, because we're reading the book. We're reading the Bible and we understand what's happening. And we can say, here's the next move right here. And we're not caught up in some, because Russia and Ukraine are having a war. What's going on? What's happening over there? What's going on? Nothing. Wars and rumors of wars. The end is not yet. You're going to have pestilence. You're going to have diseases and famines and earthquakes and volcanoes, and you're going to have fires, you're going to have all kinds of stuff. But the end is not yet. I'm watching what Daniel is talking about. That's the brother I want to follow. Because Jesus says, when you shall see the abomination of the desolation spoke by the prophet Daniel, whosoever believe it, just go and read it. Just go read it, brothers and sisters. That's all you got to do. Pastor Johnson, thank you for tuning in tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow night, brothers and sisters, bringing you a little bit more so you can understand how it's all going to go down. So peace and blessings to all of you all in the chat room. Is that Brother Julius over there in the chat room? Shout out to Brother Julius, one of our moderators, Bomb of Gilead radio show. He'll be right here on Thursday night. He says, on the ancient side, although the Medo-Persians were a joint empire, the Persians did more damage. Today, on this side of prophecy, the Medes are the Russians, that's right, are more powerful than the Persians, which are the Iranians, that's right, and will be instrumental in World War III. Why is Brother Julius saying that? Because he read the book, brothers and sisters. When you read the book, you understand what's going on, and you can just sit back and call this thing out. You can just go read it and call it out and know what's going down. And once you understand what's going down, you got it. Thank you, Brother Julius. All of you all in the chat room, thank you tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for getting us through this. We did. We'll be back tomorrow night. Don't forget we got baptism this weekend in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to the Atlantic Ocean. And I will, if you send me an email if you're anywhere in the Fort Lauderdale area. Is that Sister Sabrina Flowers in the chat room? Shout out to Sister Sabrina Flowers. I see Elder Levette in the chat room. Shout out to my brother. All right. I'm going to give y'all the link right here. This is the the email, bethelhouseofgod@gmail.com. If you send me an email, if you're anywhere in the West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, anywhere in the state of Florida, really, and you say, listen, we're coming down for Pentecost, send us the link. Just put that email, type it in that email, type the request, and I will send you the link on Eventbrite. You must register. And there's a deadline. I think you got about another 2 weeks. After that, it's going to be cut off because we need to know how many people we're going to cook for. This is free. It won't cost you nothing. Just come on. Even if you're part of the Bethel family, you still have to register. All right? You still have to register. So we got Sister Babette up in Orlando. She is making the announcement up there. We're making the announcement down here. If you're up in the Jacksonville area and you want to come down, send me an email and say, please send me the link. You must register. How many people are going to come? We have a nice facility, brothers and sisters. I saw it today. I went in, I saw the layout. It is going to be nicely set up, and you're going to have plenty to eat. But we need to know how many people we have to cook for, okay? So that being said, we thank you for the email that you're going to send on that. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same channel. Let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts, remember to let it always be acceptable in His sight. The Lord be our strength and our Redeemer, brothers and sisters. We shall see you then. God bless you. Have a great night.